Hey guys, it's Russell back with DieselGiant.com, and on today's video we're going to be installing this, a Frantz bypass filter for your oil system on the Dodge Ram diesel. So don't go away, we'll be right back.
Okay guys, about 5 years ago I did a video, and it's on my channel. I'll try to put a link in the description below on how to install the Amsoil bypass filter system. I have had absolutely no problems with this filter system whatsoever. My normal maintenance routine is to change the full flow filter once a year and then the bypass filter every other year. The oil that was installed in here 5 years ago is still the same oil that is in here today. I know that's hard to believe, but I have every single year I take a sample of oil, send it off to the lab, get an oil analysis done, and the oil is still good. These bypass filters are awesome. The only problem with the Amsoil filter, if you can even call it a problem, is that these filters are rather expensive. They're like 30 some odd bucks. But as far as performance of the system, it's been absolutely flawless. Now, people are going to be asking, why am I wanting to put this instead of this? And the reason is because, number one, because I have this and I've always wanted to try it. I want to do a comparison of oil analysis to see if this bypass filter is better than this one. Now, this is the newest, or I guess I would say the last filter design that John Frantz had patented before he died. You can look on YouTube. These things have been made since the 1950s. Okay, this one is a little different in that it has an integrated oil cooler. The oil flow is reversed from the original design, but the basic concept is the same. This uses a cellulose medium commonly called toilet paper. Now, before you start laughing, cellulose, tightly wrapped cellulose, is actually a better filter medium than what's in here. And the reason is this will filter down to the sub-micron, below 1 micron level if you use the right paper. And you basically use the cheap 1-ply that's really tightly wrapped paper that's in here. Now, the reason that this is appealing is because it's really cheap to change the filters. Now, I'm going to have to change this about every 5,000 miles, whereas this one I was doing, I don't know, every 12,000 miles or so, maybe 15. So I'm going to have to be doing a few more changes, but these are so cheap. The roll of the proper toilet paper is less than $1. So I'm not trying to save any money. My goal is, number one, I want to try this filter out because this was the original bypass filter. And number two, I want to see if my oil analysis reports are any different, whether good or bad. I'm going to tell you guys and see which one is actually better. Now, obviously, this is proven design. It works perfect. Like I said, I have zero. This thing is awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this portion of the bypass filter here. I'm going to have to make a bracket to mount this. Now, you can mount this filter just like you can mount this in any, a combination of directions, but in order for most people mount it like this, right side up, and that's fine. You've got your inlet and outlet. That's fine if you can drain the oil naturally from the outlet, but you see here that this goes uphill, okay? And this is not a problem because the canister's on the bottom. So because of the direction and the height of this interfering with my hood, I really don't have room to stick it up like this, I don't think. If I could, then it would drain downhill and I could do it like this. But I'm probably going to end up mounting it like this, so the canister comes off from the bottom so the oil will not spill out all over the place, unless I can figure out a way to raise it up a little bit. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this off, and then I'm going to have to fabricate a bracket that will be able to mount the plate from here, and I have another bracket that's on here, and I will show you guys that. That part is going to be depending on whether you use this type of or have this model. You know, these can go on just about anything. I originally bought this for my Jetta TDI, and I ended up, there was just absolutely no place to mount this. There's no room in that under the hood without, I didn't want to move the battery. So I ended up putting the Trasco bypass filter back on there, and that's why I've got this left over. So what I'm going to do is, actually I'm going to go ahead and let you guys, I'm going to move the camera and let you guys see what this looks like with the filter, how you take the filter or the medium out. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my bracket options. This part is going to stay. I'm just going to disconnect the filter head. Now, one thing that I did do, these threads right here are 1/8 inch NPT threads, okay? They're just regular pipe threads. My hose uses 7/16-20 JIC connectors, and that's why I put the NPT to JIC connectors here, so I'm not going to change these hoses at all. I'm going to keep these hoses. I'm trying to keep this as simple and quick as possible. Okay, I wanted to show you guys what I've done so far. I took some 1/8 inch flat stock. I got it at Home Depot. You could use aluminum, but I needed a piece that was about 5 inches wide. So I got two 2-inch pieces and one, I think this is 1 1/4. Just tack welded them together. Drilled some holes for the base to go in, and then I've got some holes on this side to where it'll attach to my bracket that I made for my Amsoil filter. The reason that I did this way was because I wanted to use the same hoses that I have now, just in case this doesn't work out. I want to put the Amsoil bypass on. All I have to do is unbolt this assembly, take it off, and undo the hoses, and I can put the Amsoil bypass back on there. So this is overkill, like way overkill, but yeah, you know, sometimes it works out like that. If you can find a piece of aluminum, you only need a piece that's about 5 inches wide and about 8 inches long. I made this one longer. I was going to put a bottom support, but it's not needed. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up my hoses, and then we'll test run the system. But I wanted you guys to see exactly how this filter is serviced. So before we go any further, I'm going to take this apart for you. Okay, this has just got a clamp, comes right off, and then this pops right off just like that. There's a screen, and what happens is the oil comes in through this tiny orifice right here, goes up through the middle, and then it comes back down through the toilet paper and goes back out that hole right there. Now initially I was going to have this mounted where it was upside down, where the canister was hanging down like this, because it would be much easier to do the changes, because the way this sits, the outlet goes uphill slightly to my valve cover. Due to the hood clearance, I'm not able to put it higher so it goes down. So the way that I have it like this, when I pull this is going to be full of oil because it's not going to be able to drain. So what I'm going to do, and I thought about this and said, well, the easiest thing to do is when I go to service the filter, I'm just going to take the cap loose and just put it down in a bucket and let it drain out that way. A lot of people will have their outlet go down to the oil pan. In that case, since the outlet is always downhill, when you turn the engine off and there's no more pressure, then the oil that's in the bypass filter will drain down to the pan, so that if you let it sit for a while or overnight, this will be pretty much empty except for the residue that's in the filter itself. So this really is the best option. The way that I have it now, it's not going to hit my boot, it's not going to hit my overflow bottle. There's plenty of room around it. And the other problem, having it upside down, which it would be more convenient as far as hooking the hoses up, but I would have absolutely no room to pull this down and bring it back out. There's just, this canister is a lot bigger diameter than the Amsoil bypass canister, and I barely had enough room. So I will eventually paint this bracket, but I'm going to hook everything up, make sure that there are no leaks. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to unhook my bypass filter at the two hoses. I'm going to install the two hoses, put this back together, get this back on the car, and let you see what it looks like sitting and mounted on the car. Alright, what I did was I took some Scott 1000. I took 30 wraps off. This core is a 1.7 inch core, and I didn't push it down quite as far, hoping that when I put this on, it'll contact that area better. Okay, and I'm going to put the bracket back on, or the clamp.